Professor Shige Suzuki of Okayama University in Japan describes the Maurer force as the circumferential tensile force caused by the rotation of the Earth. Can you explain your theory in simple terms for us?
Oh, it's a simple question, but it's not an easy question to answer. The whole thing starts off with my hobby of mineral collecting and fossil collecting. It was in the Andes when I happened to see undisturbed sedimentary beds 5 kilometers above sea level, just outside La Paz, and I collected fantastic stromatolites, one of which has been sold to the Natural History Museum. And it puzzled me what forces are available to lift up a half a continent up into the sky, up and one over the other, the Nazca plate. It was the forces were just unimaginable, and it was from this I decided to have a look at tectonics as a subject. And it was noted very soon that everything was done as a case of subduction, and in particular there was this tremendous um, uh, emphasis that the Earth was rotating around its center of mass, and center line was all coincident with the paleomagnetic forces with no torque force at all. With I, as an engineer in manufacture of turbine meters and hydrodynamic machinery, fully understood the problems related to unbalanced machinery. And the Earth, with its Milankovitch cycles and its Chandler wobble, behaved exactly or mimicked that of an unbalanced rotating shaft. It was therefore possible to calculate the forces subtended to the surface of any rotating vessel using standard applied mathematics to work out what forces are available on the outside of a rotating solid body or even a drum. And it was those forces which I had help from one of my gentlemen that worked with me many years, Dave Tompkins, and we put together the formula which relates the force subtended to the surface, the tensile forces in the circumference, relates to the offset of the center of mass from the center of rotation. I wrote this up as a paper and sent it to Professor Howarth at the University, at the Geological Association, and also was head of mathematical geology at UCL. And he actually accepted my version and accepted the mathematics as being applicable. However, we could not get a single person to do peer review because of the fact that I considered the Earth as a rigid body rotating within rather than a free rotating body. That was done in 2002, roughly around about 2015, 2016. I picked up the work again and I noted the work by Kepler, of the astronomer or the mathematician, lived in the 1500s, 1545, we believe it was. He published his work showing the volume or the swept out by the Earth as it went on its elliptical journey around the Sun. So it was obvious that the Sun was controlling the elliptical movement of the Earth and therefore all the planets. Another bit of work came to mind from MIT, which showed that the Earth was rotated 1 degree from April to November to October to face the sun correctly on its outward journey, and then from October to April on its inward journey, it would reverse this rotation of 1 degree. Therefore, the sun was controlling the whole of the movement of the planets. Therefore, it had to be treated as a rotating body with an offset mass, center of mass. There was no way you could have done that from a center line. And it was this, once this was done, the derivation of the formula relating the forces subtended to the surface, which could split the planet and break up supercontinents, became a function of the distance between the offset of the center of mass and the center of rotation, which is basically referred to now as the radius of eccentricity. And that I published my own book because I couldn't get a peer review, picked up by Professor Shiga, because he had a problem in trying to understand how the breakaway of the Philippines and the Japanese peninsulas could be explained by subduction, because it just couldn't be done that way. So it could only be done by the fact that you've got these subtended forces on the surface of the earth which are pushing your continents, and doing so, he was able to offer a reasonable explanation for the temporal and the geology of the of Japan and the Philippines. And from there, I produced the second edition of the book, having recognized that the sun was now controlling the Earth and it had to have an offset center of mass. It was possible to calculate the differential circumferential tensile forces at the center of on the rim of the Earth. And this gave a lovely explanation as to the breakup of a supercontinent. Not only did it cause the breakup of a supercontinent, these forces, but they also, once you push detach a continent from its supercontinent stage and set it in motion, it develops momentum. I can't believe that this has not been done in geology before. That's the mass of the continent times its velocity. The velocity is tiny, millimeters per year, but the mass is phenomenal, and nothing will stop it other than at another convergent boundary. And the loss of slab force, which everyone at the moment attributes subduction to and movement of the continents, is now irrelevant, because the continent does not stop despite the loss of the slabs. It goes on and on. In the case of India, it hasn't stopped. It smacked into Asia and gave us the Himalayas, and it's still stopping. It's still pushing up the Himalayas. In the case of South America going west, it banged into the Nazca plate and climbed over it. There was enough force factor subtended for a 1 kilometer offset to throw the African plate, the South American plate, over the Nazca plate. But it created the Cordilleras, it created the Andean orogeny, and it was the force of that I've now got a calculation, we've now got a handle on. And this is now estimatable, which it was not before, by treating the rotation of the Earth as a rigid rotating body, as distinct from a freely rotating body. And this has opened up a whole new branch in engineering or geology.
So the Maurer force is the force that causes the continents to keep moving.
The Maurer force is basically starts off with, it is sufficient to break up a supercontinent and send the detached plates on their way around from the heavier side to the lighter side. And for that, it was essential to do in the mathematical analysis, done in conjunction, obviously, with people like David Tompkins and others, and Dr. And John Crocker. Everything has got to be done somewhere along a line with friends and helpers and other engineers. And we put the center of rotation the center of mass offset from the center of rotation to get our model. Had we just put the center of mass as the point of rotation, we've had the flywheel effect and have not have got the answers we got. So we've now got a model from which we can now estimate the forces responsible, actually even today, for splitting the Rift Valley as it is at the moment.
Okay, thanks, Bob.